Hello there, my name is Sixo, but more on that later, as now it's time for a brand new unboxing video. And today we're taking a look at a new product from third-party outfit Newage, as they move to do something a little different from their usual fare. This is XM1-B Mista. Tiny little box, but very exciting contents. Mista is the first release in a new line of toys from third-party company Newage, and sees them tackling the big screen interpretation of fan-favourite Decepticon, Soundwave. It's quite a departure for Newage, who are more well known for producing unofficial legend-scale toys, and also includes an attempt at Soundwave's avian partner, Laserbeak. Soundwave first appears in Revenge of the Fallen, although remains in space for the duration of that film. He eventually makes it to Earth for Dark of the Moon, taking on an alternate form of a Mercedes-Benz and going undercover until the Decepticons enact their grand plan. Laserbeak puts in a particularly memorable performance during the film, and is responsible for some of the creepiest scenes I can think of in a Transformers movie.
Is your daddy home?
I can't wait to see what Newage have done with both characters today, and how well they line up in the ever-expanding roster of available Mpm-style toys on the market. Last thing before we begin, today's video comes courtesy of TF Source, so you'll find a link to their site in the video description. The plan for today is to give you my first impression before getting a full photo review up on their blog soon. So here is Mista in his box, and it's a pretty tiny box, all things considered. Really nice artwork on the front. This quite ominous little neon writing just here, he's watching you. And indeed the picture does kind of tie into that sort of creepy factor as well. It's very cool overall, really like it. Just on the back you've got a couple of promo shots, mostly of the toy in this kind of slightly tealed out kind of wash, but it looks really cool. As I say, very tiny box, all things considered. More so than I was expecting, actually. I haven't actually had any Newage stuff before, so I didn't really know what to expect from their packaging. But yeah, certainly a lot smaller than I was anticipating. And here is the toy itself in car mode, which is something I'm always a fan of out of the box. So in the box you get this little bag with their Laserbeak, which looks really cool. Can't wait to check that out. Another little bag with the character's gun. A folded up set of instructions, which look like they may not be the easiest to follow, but we'll see how we go. And of course, you've got the toy itself, which I have to say looks really nice. So all told, that's a pretty simple package. Just literally the actual toy, gun, Laserbeak, that's it. But what else do you need? Right, well, let's check out this car mode. And before we do that, we've got one of the most satisfying bits of any unboxing for any collector ever. Oh, that's the stuff. Right, well, with that done, first impressions on the car are really strong, really strong. I think it looks excellent, really nice and shiny, lovely finish on here, very kind of sparkly, shiny silver paint, I think, or is it unpainted? Very hard to tell. If it's unpainted, it looks good, that's all I'm going to say. But nice proportions to the car as well. Or at least I think so. I have to say, third parties are getting really good at these car modes of late, right? They're often very accurate to the source material and just look stunning. And I think Newage have definitely nailed it. You can see a little 360 of the car there, and I think it looks excellent. Some really attractive small detail going on here, just like on the little spokes on the wheels. That looks really quite fabulous. Likewise on the bonnet section, like just here, a very tiny little molded detail that just looks superb. Likewise, the front of the car looks great too. Really quite surprised by the sort of approximation of the manufacturer logo just there. Kind of thing that you might think would land them in hot water a little bit, but hey, they've gone with it, and it does look good. It does look good. The headlights look good too. Rear section very clean too, something that you don't always get on Masterpiece style cars, but here they've absolutely nailed it. Tiniest little whiff of kibble just underneath, but honestly you would have to go looking for it. Really, it's superbly clean. These rear tail lights look amazing. Kind of slightly pinkish hue to them. Don't know if that's accurate to the car. Someone can tell me, I'm sure, but it looks good. And there is again a slight approximation of the manufacturer logo on the back as well. Some little molded detail in areas such as the windscreen wipers just here as well, but then you can see quite a lot of robot mode stuff going on through the windshield. One can't help but feel that maybe they could have gone for a slightly darker tint, because it's really not too dark overall, so you can see various bits and bobs and cogs and joints and whatever else in there, but it doesn't look bad. If anything, it's kind of, there's something a little bit I don't know, almost stylish about the way they've kind of arranged it, so I don't mind it at all. And again, some nice molded detail on areas such as the side of the car, like here. Honestly, the overall attention to detail on this thing is quite striking. And I think one thing that is worth mentioning is how clean this underside is as well. I mean, it might seem like a strange point. You know, not everybody cares about what the underside of the car mode looks like, but I always kind of feel like it's the sign of a good design anyway, or certainly a tidy one, when the underside packs away so neatly. Or it can be, let's say. And here, I think it all looks very good. So yes, on the whole, I really do feel like they've done an excellent job here. Honestly, the whole thing looks, I've said it already, but superb. It really, really does. Very tidy, very clean. Nice details though. So I mean, sometimes you get clean car modes that don't necessarily, look as good when you get up close and kind of look at the smaller details. Here, they've absolutely nailed everything. The whole thing's exceptionally tidy, but yeah, actually, when you go digging for it, the smaller details are on point as well. And it looks like the whole thing rolls pretty nicely. It certainly stands on all four wheels. So yeah, I'm impressed. It's got to be said, I'm impressed. But there are some nice features too, such as the little folding up doors on the sides. There you go, fold up just like the real world car. And if you've seen the film Dark of the Moon, then you might recall that happens. Nothing like a real world interior going on, but still, it's a nice little feature. They are quite hard to unpeg from the sides. I actually had to just kind of fiddle around slightly and just unpeg a few more things just to get to them. But once you've done it, you know what? I think it looks pretty cool, and it's a nice little gimmick. I think the size of it is pretty fun too. Now, if I bring in the likes of a Masterpiece Carbot, this is Masterpiece Tiger Track, fresh on the heels of our recent Toy of the Week video, then you can see that actually, they're not too dissimilar in terms of size. I actually think this stacks up pretty nicely. So it is kind of roughly, well, maybe a little bit bigger than a Masterpiece Carbot, but certainly not too far off. So to me, that works excellently. Then, of course, it's probably worth doing a quick comparison with with one of the Mpm toys in vehicle mode. This is Jazz, who of course is probably the smallest overall. 2 silver cars, there you go. And I think actually, again, this works remarkably well to my eye. I mean, look, I'm not gonna get into the intricacies of is it exactly the right size and whatever else, but of course this car is very small in real life. So I think it's good enough, do you know what I mean? And actually I will say that the finish on Mista, just here, is really nice in comparison to the Mpm toy. Jazz is one that actually has one of the nicer finishes, if anything, on the official line. But they can sort of struggle a little bit, some of those toys, and actually Mista comes off very nicely by comparison. And then as a final vehicle mode comparison, we'll bring in something that I attempted to transform on camera just recently. This is, of course, Toy World Freedom Leader. Their attempt at a Bumblebee movie, Optimus Prime, anyway. And if you've not watched that video, do give it a look. But yeah, I had major issues getting this thing into track mode on camera anyway, and have fiddled with it a lot since, and have managed to get all the various bits tabbed in that I just couldn't get done on that day. But man, it took a lot of work. Still think there's something slightly wrong with mine in terms of how it all tabs together. But anyway, that's a little update for you. There you go. In case you were wondering how I got on with that. But there you go, fun comparison all the same. Well, now before we move on to transformation and robot mode, I just want to take a quick look at this Laserbeak, because honestly, first impressions are that it is excellent. Really nice attention to detail. Very small little thing, but the actual sculpt and moulding on here is quite incredible, it's got to be said, and it looks to be very articulated too. Now if we come around to the reverse just here, you can see what I mean. It's got some really very striking but tiny moulded detail on the wings. Nice little fans here with that red paint, some more red paint here, areas such as the tail and the backbone. It just looks immaculate. Very intricate little moulded neck, and of course the beak and the head and everything just there is looking great. And just look at the tiny detail on the eyes there, painted in red. That is just superb. Honestly, can't commend them enough. I mean, for such a small thing, this little Laserbeak is loaded with articulation. I mean, look at these wings. So first of all, you get a nice bit of wingspan like that. You do get this kind of visual break just there, but honestly, that's fine. You also get a nice kind of flap, wing flap like that. They go all the way up. So that's really cool, and a fair bit down as well. Really impressive wingspan. You've got a tail which is on a little ball joint just here, so that obviously rotates round. That looks great. You've then got a little hinge joint just in the end of this kind of forked tail just there. so that's nice. The neck is also on a similar ball joint, so that can rotate all the way around. Thought the head might be articulated as well, but I don't believe it is. Oh no, actually it is. There you go. I tell a lie. So that even, look at that, even the neck is articulated and the head as well. That's impressive. That's really impressive. And then if you flip him over, he's got these little legs, kind of chicken-ish legs, little ball joint at the hip just there, and then the feet are on a ball joint as well. No articulation in the toes, but I think that would just be too much actually for a thing this size. I think this is excellent. So what really can I say other than I'm hugely impressed? I mean, I guess this is the kind of scale that Newage are more well known for, so perhaps it's no surprise that that they've really crushed this thing. But honestly, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of this little Laserbeak. If anything, I'm very excited about Soundwave, but this alone for me is just everything, because it's it's such a memorable character from Dark of the Moon, such a creepy scene that short of this thing transforming into a pink bumblebee, I don't know how I don't know how much more impressed I could be. So just to give you an idea of the small scale of this thing, let's bring in a few comparisons. Here is a Generation 1 Micromaster. This is Tailspin, one of my favourites. And you can see there how that shapes up. It really is very tiny overall. We've also got, from a kind of more MPM stance here, is Human Alliance, not MPM actually, but this is Human Alliance Frenzy, which goes with their Human Alliance Barricade. I don't have the Barricade, I've just got the Frenzy, and actually I think it works excellently with MPM style bots. I had a friend give me his, which was very nice of him, and I love it, absolutely love this little thing. And these two together work really nicely. How cool is that? Frenzy and Laserbeak, there you go. And then let's take a look at another kind of small little minion. This is, of course, Scorponok, but this is actually from, it's a KO of the Studio series from Wei Zhang. And there you go, that Wei Zhang Scorponok. I think that's also a really cool little thing, very intricate, detailed, nice little, molded attention to detail, excellent. And again, they look fabulous together. I think that's really cool. Of course, there's one final comparison that's probably in order, and that is with the Generation 1 Masterpiece Laserbeak. There you go. You can see how they shape up together. I think that's really cool. Love the interpretation here. Really like the red that they've included on the Newage Laserbeak as well. I think that looks excellent. Nice little callback. I'm super impressed. What can I say? So what else can I say so far except excellent first impression, right? Vehicle mode's excellent. The Laserbeak is astounding, actually astounding. Can't wait to check out the transformation. Let's go. And there we go, transformation done. And I won't lie, there was at least a couple of moments with the instructions where I was a bit all WTF, but actually it was not too bad on the whole. This thing feels very solid and well made. Everything kind of tabs in quite nicely. It's got its place. I think, there's a couple of elements here which are some of the best bits that you get on kind of MPM or Bayformer designs of this style, where actually, although it is kind of, you know, the design itself is quite messy by its sort of inherent nature, actually everything tabs together quite nicely and sort of still has its place. So there's a sort of cohesiveness with how it transforms that is quite appealing, it has to be said. A couple of bits that don't necessarily sort of tab anywhere, but that's fine. You know, bits like the wheels on the back here, as we'll see, and these little panels on the shoulders. But overall, really nothing too much to worry about. The main bit of complexity, if anything, is in the legs. And to be honest, I think it's just literally how the instructions are drawn. A lot of it, the figure is upside down for a huge portion, as it's depicted in the instructions. So it does get quite confusing a couple of times. But actually, it's one of those that when you realize what it is that they're trying to get you to do with the legs, it's nowhere near as complicated as it first presents. So overall, really not too bad. And I think he cleans up really nice. That's a great looking robot mode, and quite clean actually overall. I mean, really no backpack to speak of. And if you just turn him all the way around, you'll see that actually everything kind of, you know, stows away pretty tidily. These little doors, which are the fold-up doors, the kind of door wings, if you will, I mean, they don't necessarily go like that. They don't really have a sort of defined place, but I think they look pretty neat like that. And you can kind of fold these little wheels down on top of them like that. You could have these raised up slightly. You could have the doors fanned out a little bit. It's up to you. Personally, I like it like that. And I think he looks great overall. And yeah, just from a general first impression of the look, honestly, it's killer. Do you know what I mean? Really, really killer. It's just incredibly striking. Some stunning details, really, really nice details all over this thing. Feels solid. There's maybe a little bit of give just in the hands, which we'll look at. But honestly, overall, it feels well made. It looks great. What's not to like at this stage? Very, very strong first impression. I mean, look, the aesthetic of this thing is obviously not going to be for everybody. If you're not a fan of Bayformers for starters, then hey, what are you watching this for ultimately, right? And a lot of people are going to have, you know, particularly kind of old school G1 fans are going to have palpitations at the idea of this being Soundwave, the fact that it turns into a car, the fact that it's silver. But you know what? I really dig it. I think it's a cool take. From memory of the film anyway, I haven't seen it in years, but you know, this looks on point to me in terms of representing the likeness of the character from the screen. I just think they've utterly nailed it. Now, a big part of that is the head sculpt, because I mean, just look at this thing. That's absolutely glorious. Really, really love it. Little red eyes in there. That's really tiny attention to detail. Gold paint on the side, the molding on the face, on these teeth is just superb. I really like the kind of spikes and the ridges and stuff on top. I just think overall, it looks awesome, absolutely awesome, and it catches the light wonderfully. I think they've absolutely nailed it with that head sculpt. Really appreciate these little gold paint applications here as well, and these little metal bits on the shoulders. I think they look excellent. Really like how the chest comes together, and again, in common with a lot of the kind of official MPM bots like Jazz and Bumblebee and whatever else, you know, the way that the bonnet kind of squishes is really cool. Absolutely love the forearms here. I think this detail looks great. The silver is superb, catches the light really nicely. That's all good stuff. Really like these kind of cylindrical designs on here. Just looks wicked, looks really, really cool. Likewise, the hands are just very cool in terms of the design. These fingers are super detailed, and again, they're tiny, really, really tiny, but just shows you how Newage have got that attention to detail. I like the kind of worn paint that's going on here as well. Initially, I thought these were metal, but actually they are plastic, I think, but they've just got that kind of worn look to them, and it's excellent. I mean, even on the back of this thing, just look, that little metal kind of rib cage in the, or spine in the middle there. It's stunning, you know, really, really stunning. It uses that same sort of chromed plastic on there, and honestly, that's in a spot that no one is really going to see, but they've got that attention to detail down pat. Paint on areas such as the thighs, just here, this is on the actual back and side of the thighs. That is just excellent. That far outstrips anything I think I've seen in the official MPM line, being completely honest. And I just think, again, superb. And you know, on the other side of the leg, I mean, it's a similar story really. Lots of lovely little cogs and pistons and all kinds of stuff. This, I mean, ultimately, yeah, it is kind of a messy design by its very nature. And again, that's just inherent in the, you know, in the sort of MPM Bayformer design. There's, you know, they've aped that very, very well. But actually, I think it looks quite tidy actually, considering the source material and whatever else. I think they've done a really nice job with it. There is some die cast in here as well, areas such as this little kind of spike on the knee and down here as well, and the sort of, I guess, can you call that a toe? I don't know. Whatever it is, there is some metal in there as well. So overall, great stuff. I mean, just look at the highlights on this thing. You've got red gold under here in an area that, again, you're not really going to see it. They could have just not done that, and I mean, you wouldn't have thought about it necessarily. The blue up the top there, that's gorgeous. You know, It's good. It's really, really good. I mean, let's just get another look at that face in there, right? Because it's just wonderful. Honestly, spectacular stuff. All round, great. So this for me is the kind of toy that I just love checking out in detail on these kind of videos, because honestly, there's just so much to look at. It's a visual treat. I could gush about it all day. It's just brilliant. But let's check out articulation anyway. Plenty of movement in the head all round, can look up, can look down. That's all good. Some nice joints in the shoulder. They can go back and forth like that and then out to the side. And there is also this kind of, I mean, it's for transformation, so it's very tough, but there's this kind of butterfly joint that you could, in theory, utilize to go out and forward a little bit. I'm not really going to count that necessarily as a point of articulation, but it's there if you want. Decent bend at the elbow can get you to about 90 degrees, and then you've got wrist swivel, and then all of the fingers are individually articulated in 2 points, so they look really, really cool. Love these spikes, again, just great. Thumb is the same, it's on a main ball joint and then a hinge just at the knuckle. And one thing I will say is that I don't know, they're fine, but I feel like the wrists could just do with being a slight bit tighter. If you get them into the wrong, I mean, they're on ball joints as well, get them into the wrong orientation and they just have a little bit of wobble to them, that's all. They are fine. I mean, again, if you just reposition them slightly, you can see that's much tighter now. It's just that thing of when the friction goes at certain angles, then yeah, bit of wobble. Waist swivel, just there, but no ab crunch. Hips, you've got quite a bit of motion, can go all the way up, well, just a little bit over 90 degrees. Knees pretty good as well. Will actually bend slightly further than 90 degrees, which is really, really good. If anything, the knee joint is not kind of where you expect it to be, but it works really well all the same. Similar story with the feet, really, which is just this sort of bit at the front there, and there is they're on a ball joint, so there is ankle tilt, I guess you can call it, and a bit of back and forth as well. Quite a bit of motion actually. Then you can just go ahead and peg his little gun into his palm of his hand like that. It's actually 2 little pegs that just go straight in and just wrap the fingers around as you would expect, and that works really, really well. So yeah, with that gun in hand, he just looks absolutely excellent. Honestly, I'm really, really, really quite smitten with this figure overall. I just think, it looks fantastic. It handles like a charm. It's covered in nice paint applications and a really lovely finish. The details are on point. Engineering's good. What's not to like at the end of the day? Do you know what I mean? Now, there is a version of this with 2 guns, actually, as I discovered. I've got the version with 1 gun, and, that's fine, actually. I don't mind just having the 1 gun. The other version does come with a little Ravage as well, which, do I miss having Ravage? Nah, not at all. Right, yeah, no, I do a little bit, I'm not going to lie. But, hey, you've still got Laserbeak, all right? So that's pretty good. I mean, at the end of the day, the Laserbeak is the one that I was most concerned about, and as I said earlier, it really is excellent, and it just looks superb, absolutely superb with this robot mode. That to me is perfect. I know some people don't like these designs, and fair enough, I get it. I understand that it's not what you wanted from your childhood or whatever else. Me too in some ways, but I'm still riding with it, and I think there's a lot to love here. It's got to be said. And this recreation of these 2 characters together is nigh on flawless, to be honest. I will say that Laserbeak doesn't like tab in or anything like that on the arm or anywhere else, so getting in balance can be a little bit of a challenge, let's say, particularly given the kind of bumpy nature of Soundwave's design, or Mista's design, I should say. But still, it's perfectly doable, particularly with how articulated the whole thing is, and it's wonderful. Right, well anyway, it's time to do a few comparisons, and first up, we're going to take a look at him with the big dog himself. This is Mpm Megatron, and this is the official toy. This is not a KO or oversized KO or whatever else. This is the official toy, and yeah, they do look really good together actually. Obviously Soundwave Mista quite a bit smaller, but there you go, that's how they scale up anyway. For me, that works. Not that those 2 designs ever meet on screen, of course, but I actually don't have a Dark of the Moon Megatron in sort of Mpm style, but here he is with the Revenge of the Fallen version. Anyway, this is actually by its third-party product from TF Dream Factory. It's their God 11, I think it is, and really, really nice toy. So there you go, you can see how it looks with that design anyway. Now, one figure he does share the screen with is, of course, Starscream. So here is the recent Mpm 10, and yeah, really nice toy overall, and I just reviewed it actually the other week, so you can check that video out as well if indeed you want to, and you can see what they look like here. I think that's really cool. That's really something actually in terms of size, everything on point. Going to do more comparisons because I love them, and here he is with another TF Dream Factory product. This is their Bone Crusher. Again, this is third party, not a KO, and really, really nice toy. You can see how they look together there. And here he is with Wei Jiang hide shadow, their blackout. This is the blackout that, of course, that Scorponaut from earlier comes from. Absolutely massive old thing. Oversized version of the Studio Series mold, and very, very impressive. And you can see the height difference there. And just because I'm a glutton for punishment, here he is with Devil Savior Split, which, can I make it stand? Will he stand? Yes, there we go, completely unsupported. Totally looks like he's going to topple over at any moment, but he is standing. Anyway, this was one of the first unboxing videos I did. Their next figure's on the way soon. Actually still excited to check it out, gotta be said. Even though this thing, boy does it have its flaws, but still excited for the next one somehow. I must be a glutton for punishment. Then let's bring in the old Mpm Barricade, which is a personal favourite of mine. Really, really love this toy. And they're roughly not quite the same height actually. Mista is a little bit bigger, but yeah, he's kind of falling into that range anyway. I think they just look superb together. Really nice. Let's mix it up a bit, and here he is with DX9's Hot Rod, Lahaya. Very, very different interpretation, ultimately different film, but they still look quite cool together. Right, let's do some Autobots. So here is Mpm Bumblebee. Also not the best at standing up, sadly. There we go. And yeah, again, they're not too dissimilar in terms of height. If anything, kind of, they're basically the same. Then we've got Ironhide, Masterpiece Movie Ironhide, with some DNA design upgrades as well, which is important to note because they make a big difference. And you can see how they scale size-wise there. And then, of course, we've got Mpm Optimus Prime. Bring in just there he goes. Really like this toy, and again, this is the official version, not a KO, in case you're wondering about the size or whatever else. Official version. And there's a final comparison for the day. Here he is with the the original G1 style Masterpiece Soundwave, and of course, just a fun thing to see them there. We've already looked at the two Laserbeaks together, so why not the Soundwaves as well? Very, very different, but of course that's exactly what you would expect. For me, this is just how I like to collect. I like different versions of the same characters and whatever else, and I think they're both valid, frankly. And yeah, really impressed with Mista. I think it's another very different take on the character, very different take on Soundwave, but still looks great. So, final thoughts on Mista then are that it's a really nice product. It's a really, really nice box package. Yeah, everything works, it's good. Design is nice, finish is nice, transformation's cool. It's complicated, but not too fussy. The car mode is excellent. The robot mode is glorious. The Laserbeak is just a little mini marvel. What else can I say? I am kind of missing the Ravage, but at the same time, everything that you get just here is superb. So, frankly, of course, it's a toot. So that's Newage Mista. Now I'll put a link to TF Source's listing for this guy in the video description, and I'll be aiming to get the full photo review up on their blog soon. Otherwise, that's it from me. So enjoy the rest of your day. TTFN.